Welcome to episode 145 of the Dom Joseph podcast. Yes, it is me, your host, Dom. No other. Alone, solo, one-man wolf pack, Uno. I don't know how to count any other things. I feel like I should learn a little bit more. But yeah, we're here. You know, there's been a lot that's actually been going down. I was actually approached by a woodpecker. And the woodpecker was trying to establish dominance over me. He failed. Then also an ant was trying to show off in front of me. The insect, he was carrying a ladybug. Wasn't really that impressed. But then I also tried to eat an ice cream sandwich. And the lactose got to me. And then also what else went down? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on in native country I want to cover here today, too. But anyways, today is May 24th. As of the time of this recording. So you guys can look at the date on your phone and see like, oh, how long does it usually take them? You know, it fluctuates. But we're here today with episode 145. Let's get this show started. One of my favorite songs here on the podcast I like to play, Staples, man, he does a good job. I actually use that off of Epidemic Sound, I believe, that's where I get all my music from. Other places we're starting to charge a little bit more. So, you know, we took a pivot, we pivoted, we didn't pick up our left foot, and we didn't travel. For those of you who do not know what that means, it's like when you play basketball and you pick up your foot, your left one, then you can't dribble. And we don't travel around here. We don't double dribble around here. We don't goaltend around here. We just play in between the lines and we get buckets. That's what we do. But anyways, what's been going on in the world today? What's going on in pop culture and stuff? I actually went and seen Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was a good movie. I'm a big Marvel fan. But Guardians of the Galaxy, man, it's something a little different. I think I like the jokes. I like the characters. It just kind of like, it's not as like superhero arc, like it's more of like what it would actually kind of be like if there was like aliens and stuff, I feel like. And it, you know, but it's all fictional. And for the longest time as a kid, I used to always get super mixed up with nonfiction and fiction. People would be like, nonfiction's fake and fiction is real. And I'd be like, oh. I don't know why fiction and nonfiction threw me off for a long time. I mean, I always knew biographies were fake, or no, biographies were real. But when it came to fiction and stuff, I used to get really mixed up with that. Like I used to get mixed up with 13 and 14 as a young kid. You know, I'd be like 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. And somebody called me out later on, and I think third grade, I think they told me, hey, it's 14. I think I've told this story before, but you guys get the point. Speaking of numbers and sizes and the Nike lows, the Dunk Low Doritos shoe collab just came out. And I don't think I'll be getting a pair just because of the resellers, man. But, you know, that's okay. You know, I mean, they'll maybe go down eventually. But that's the thing with shoes, man. I'm a guy who thinks if you spend money on shoes, you should wear them. But, man, sometimes these resellers, man, they'll buy a kidney on the black market and mark it up 90%. And they'll sell it to their uncle for that price. You know, they got that in them. They got something in them where they go, you know, hey, let's get these shoes that are $200 and let's mark them up to be $5,000. Oh, your cousin needs a toe? Yeah, I got a toe at the house, you know. And they really think about selling it to you. Oh, yeah, I got a dead stock pinky toe in my house. It's been refrigerated and everything, and you need it, you know, I can give it to you for about $200K. Dead stock. Only been worn once. Pinky toe worn once. You know, that's the thing with these resellers, man. They mark it up. Whatever it is, they're marking up. You know, they're like, hey, man, can you grab me a plate from the cookout? They're like, yeah, I could sell it to you. You know, only one fry been taken. Worn once. $5,000 for this plate. You're like, dude, it's just macaroni and hot dogs and maybe a piece of cornbread. It's like, hey, man, that's the value. You know, you could wait. It could go up. Man, these resellers, man, they're another animal to be dealt with. I actually bought this pair of Jordan 7s, the N7s, and they actually went down a little bit by the time I bought them. But thankfully, you know, they did. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes things go up, and that's the scary part about all those things. Yeah. So today I'm rocking the slick back for those of you guys who are watching the video version. Yeah, I've been liking the long hair. You know, it's something you got to deal with. I feel like I'm going to end up getting a haircut, but I haven't gotten one yet. And the thing is with haircuts, man, you got to be careful. I'm a pretty loyal guy when it comes to getting my haircut. I've been going to the same guy who's been cutting my hair for about 5 years now. That's a long time. It's a long time. And I always think, hey, man, their grass could be greener somewhere else, and I could go somewhere else and get my hair cut, but I don't. I think staying loyal to your barber is a pretty powerful thing. You know, there's a lot of ways people like to improve their life. A lot of people like to do cold showers. A lot of people like to drink water in the morning, pray in the morning. I think one of my things that keeps me sane is I tell myself I've been going to the same barber for 5 years now. And that's an accomplishment for me. I'm proud of that. Anyways, what else is going on in the world today? Yeah, like I was telling you guys, I ended up eating an ice cream sandwich, and that was an event. I don't know if I talked to you guys about this before, but my grandpa gave me like a box of ice cream. And he unfortunately can't eat ice cream right now as he's facing with, you know, diabetes and stuff. You know, I think that's the sickness. And anyway, he gave us his leftover ice cream, and man, there's these ice cream sandwiches. And I'll say, you know, my girlfriend, she likes ice cream more than me because I can't tolerate it. I can have dairy just a little bit, like on pizza and stuff. You know, I can handle it. But ice cream I cannot handle. So, get all these ice creams. There's ice cream sandwiches. There's like Dove bars and stuff like that. And it's about an hour drive from my grandpa's house to my place. Maybe less without traffic. And they were just sitting there in a cold plastic bag. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have one. And I like ice cream sandwiches. I'm an ice cream sandwich guy. I'll be honest. I'll eat them. And I ended up eating the ice cream sandwich. And man, it was good. But man, did I feel it 5 minutes afterwards, dude. Sometimes you think you can tough through lactose and have ice cream if, you know, you're lactose intolerant. And man, it makes you pay. I feel like as I've gotten older, it just gets worse. Not to the point where it's an allergic reaction. It's more of just like, oh, I got a headache. And sometimes I wonder, I know a lot of people don't do good with lactose. And they just power through it. I was like, maybe it's just mind over matter. That's something I was told by one of my buddies. He's, oh yeah, I don't do good with dairy either, and I just stopped telling myself that. So maybe if I just stop thinking about it, I'll be better. I don't know though. Been having a little bit of a raspy voice. Apologies for the voice here, but we're here, and that's the most important part. I've been getting competitive with games lately. I was playing Words with Friends, and that's always something that you get kind of competitive with, you know. And I've never, you know, I'll be honest. When I first started playing Words with Friends on the iPhone Touch, I did use the cheat app to play against people I didn't know. But now I don't do that. Now I really try to make a word, and I like to make the best of it to put the tiles in the right place to get the right numbers. But, dude, I get competitive with games. Not only Words with Friends, but Madden is probably the game I get mad at the most. It's even in the name, Madden, I get it. But, dude, there's something about Madden that just is so triggering. Like, I'll play 2K and I'll lose to someone, and it's okay. I get it. You know, they probably put a little bit more time in, whatever. But something about Madden, man, is like there's like these lucky spin-off plays, the lobs to some random receiver that's like beating your 95 overall cornerback. It just doesn't make sense. And a lot of people are going to say, hey, you know, that's football. I get that too. Like, I get there's fumbles and there's stuff like that. But I just think Madden is just the epitome of getting mad at a game. Call of Duty, someone beats me, whatever. Probably might have better gun attachments, better placement. But I feel like Madden's a pretty level playing field. Like, you can use the cheese plays and stuff, but there's something about losing in Madden that gets me, man. I was, yeah. So I don't know what that is about Madden, but it definitely drives me nuts. I usually like to use a faster quarterback in Madden, you know, and I roll out and stuff, but I've been trying to mature in Madden and stay in the pocket, and that's, you know, helpful, but it's so hard, man. Every defensive lineman in Madden is apparently getting to you in a second, and maybe everyone's like, oh, yeah, because that's realistic. It's like, okay, never mind. But it's a video game. Let's be real. What else has been going on? Yeah, I was washing windows. Washing windows is one of those things you think is easy until you do 1,000 of them. It's easy to, like, break ground, if that means, you know what I mean? Like, when you start washing windows, it's like, oh, this is all I got to do. Okay. And then you keep doing it, and then you mess up on a window. You got to retry it. You got to look at it again from a different angle, and then you got to redo it. And, you know, shout out to my cousin Chris. He gave me the job to window wash with them, and we do a lot of the buildings out here on our res, and it's fun. It's a good time. No complaints at all. It's a good time. But what else have I been doing? I actually got a question here from somebody on the DJP pod. What is the craziest thing you've seen an insect do? Let me know. I'd love to know your answers. I actually just saw 2 centipedes that looked like they were getting it on. Right on, man. Yeah, centipedes getting it on. I don't really know, like, the craziest thing I've seen, like, off the top of my head, but I know, like I said in the beginning of the show, one of the most interesting thing is ant strength. You know, the insect. You know, I'm not talking about the antes or nothing. I'm talking about ants, the insects. And they can carry, like, up to 200 times their weight or something. So I saw an ant carrying a ladybug. And this ant actually weighs about, let's see, I did the math. An average ant weighs about 1 milligram. And a ladybug on approximately weighs 24 milligrams. So ants have been documented they've been able to carry 20 times their own body weight. I meant to say 20. If a human could lift 20 times their body weight, that means we could lift 4,000 pounds. That's insane. 4,000 pounds. So what is something that is 4,000 pounds? Let's see. We're going to type this out. What is something that is 4,000 pounds? Okay, here we go. 9 things that weigh 4,000 pounds. 40 bags of cement. Okay, that's a lot. A white rhinoceros is 4,000 pounds. A Ford Taurus, the new version. A Transformer, the thing you see on the top of the roads. A Nissan Mako. A travel trailer. A Hyundai Genesis sedan. 4 30-foot hydro poles. And a Lexus RCF. All things that are 4,000 pounds. Things that I could not pick up. So that's like equivalent to me picking up one of those. That's insane, man. That's something. So I think seeing ants pick up stuff is pretty impressive, man. I don't know what their training routine is or their workout protein, you know, their splits or, you know, their calorie intake, but they're pretty impressive. And that takes me to this age-old question I asked on the podcast. Who is more of a simp, the ant or the bee? And we ended up coming to the conclusion, I think it was an ant. But man, with, you know, muscles like that, I don't know. Maybe bees are. Bees are making honey and stuff, you know, hibernating and stuff. But I think that's a pretty good thing. Yeah, so that was impressive. Also, if humans, oh no, not humans. Yeah, I guess this is also a story about humans. I was actually at Buffalo Wild Wings. I went and got a whole bunch. You know, when you go to the store and you just order way too much food, and then you get home and you're like, damn, we ordered way too much. And then you like want to invite someone over, maybe like to come help you eat the food, but then it's like it's already too late because they probably already had dinner. So like that was my problem. So we had way too much wings, and here's what happened. I did it online, didn't want to call, and I tried to get medium, not mild, wings and honey barbecue. I like honey barbecue, and apparently, I guess I didn't press it or they messed up. I don't know which one, but I'm leaning towards they messed up because I do remember, I do remember wanting honey barbecue really bad. So I get 40 wings that were medium, which was fine. So there's actually a scientific term, like we did with the ants. Why do Buffalo Wild Wings people mess up the orders? I don't know. I have no clue, but I hope they next time they figure it out. What is out something I've been seeing going on in the world today? I actually saw. I don't know if anybody knows about this. This is actually like a more of like a serious note. Native artists say they continue to struggle with theft of their work, which is something I feel like we all see in Native country. Native artists or art is often copied, and the main premise is some of the art is copied from non-native artists and sold for a profit. So native artists say they continue to struggle with their theft of their work, and tribal leaders are urging Congress to strengthen Indian Arts and Crafts Act. For those of you who don't know, the Indian Arts and Crafts Act was in 1990. That was passed to prohibit any advertisement and of all sales of counterfeit Indian arts and crafts. Artists argue, so now in 2023, artists are arguing that it needs to be adapted to 2023 with online sales and digital era, which I think is something that definitely should have been just written in within, in all future arts and endeavors, because you look at it like native art is definitely design and it's form line and it's art. It's an art type. And when that art type is copied within, now I hate to even say it because AI feels like it's being said everywhere, but AI or people just copying things within vector, Photoshop, vectorizing is when you make a logo really crisp and you can expand it and lower it. So basically when you see like a logo, like the Facebook logo, it has been vectorized so it looks proportionate and bright and crisp on letterheads, on Photoshop or whatever on your website. So what I'm saying with when it comes to logos, this definitely is something that I think needs to be looked at and adapted to the challenges that we're going to be facing with the new arts. So if you're a native artist out there, man, I don't really know what's going on yet, but I'll be sure to post it on my story for all the stuff that ends up going down. Hopefully all these native artists are doing good, man. That's something, man. Native art is precious. I've actually tried to draw and stuff, man. That's the thing. I've always been interested in what the artists don't post. Does anybody think about that? You could say that with music, any art. What did they make that you just didn't see, that they didn't think was ready, but ended up being like amazing? And what I could kind of tell is, or an example I could use, maybe a bad example, but there was a song that was by Michael Jackson, and then Justin Timberlake ended up releasing it because he bought the rights from, I think, his sister or something. I don't know. It was the song that goes, "Love ever felt so good." That one? I don't know if you guys ever heard it, but that was a song that wasn't released until after Michael has died or passed on. And it's just always so cool because the song's a banger. I like it. I think it sounds great. But so I always wonder, like, what art are artists doing that we just never see? You could say that with a lot of stuff. What businesses did people think of, or ideas, or what athletes' training programs were they doing before they did an acrobatic move or stuff like that? I understand that. A lot of people might come at me for that and be like, oh, you don't even realize what you're saying half the time. I've been getting comments like that a lot on the pod. And I'm always stuck in between the do I react or do I just not say anything? comments are something, man. Comments are, people's dark arts they're leaving on your wall. People could be having a bad day and they're just going to be like, oh, fuck this guy, man. He don't even know what he's talking about. We need less podcasts. It's like, man, like, I get everybody has an opinion and they should say stuff, but sometimes, man, it's like, you're coming at me for saying I make no sense, and then you commenting is doing nothing for either you or me. Because, I guess it's creating this rant. But other than that, it makes no sense, really, sometimes. To me and to other people. I want to do, like, this segment of, like, where we have comments of the week, and we could do douchebag of the week or something funny. Coined that term from one of my old intern bosses. He actually had a segment on his show that was douchebag of the week. I want to kind of have something like that on here to kind of call out people who were, give them, I guess, an award for being a douche, because sometimes it needs to happen. Some people think they're invincible, man, and that's when you got to humble them. It's just as much as like when money gets involved in anything, people start acting weird. The same way people start acting weird around followers. Has that ever happened with you? Oh my God. Okay, hold on. So there's the age-old thing of, okay, that guy makes money, he's cool, he's got a big house, whatever, he's successful or she's successful. And then you have the other dynamic now in 2023, which is an added element, because we still have that, of people who have followers. You ever like hang around someone and they're like, oh, that guy's got a lot of followers, man. It's like, man, I don't give a rat's ass how many followers this guy is. If he's a cool person, I'm going to judge him off him being a cool person or not, or a good person. Because I feel like a lot of people flock to people just because they have followers, and that's always been kind of like, I don't know. I get it with the money, because people are like, oh, maybe we can get on his yacht. Maybe he'll give me, like, pay my tuition or something. I get that kind of, but it's still dumb. But the followers is like, that really does nothing for you. You know what I mean? I guess I'm kind of sounding messed up here. But I guess I'm just not going to judge someone off their following personally until I met them. You know what? I've looked up to a lot of people who have a lot of followers. Like, for instance, I think Charles Oliveira, he's a cool guy off of his following. He's a UFC fighter, but I've never met him. So I can't really gauge and say how good of a person he is until I've met him personally. Or I can say Tom Hanks or something. I don't know. Someone famous. It's like, they're probably a really cool person. They do a lot of cool stuff. But I feel like my judgment isn't going to count until I've met them personally. And you could even go as far as meeting them personally a couple times, because you meet somebody and they could be having a bad day. They could have lost their sister. They could have lost a buddy, a business partner. They could have got a ticket on the way in. So, I would almost say, like, you got to meet someone at least twice before you could kind of really get a grasp of them. Because I know there's sometimes I'll meet someone, I'll be like, man, I don't even want to be at this event. And I might not even be the best person to talk to at that day. But the next time, maybe it's a different time. I've met some of my friends who, the first day I met them, I was like, they're all right. And then the next time I met them, they were cool. And then the next time it was cooler. And it's like a ratio. Because I bet you there's been many times I've been hanging out with my friends and I've been annoying, or I've been negative, or maybe too positive some days. And my friends are like, man, Dom today. But the other times they go, you know what? He is a good friend. And that's the point of being a good person to me, is if I see somebody who's really cool and everyone's hyping up and they're saying, oh, they're following, they're successful. It's like, cool, that's great. Let's meet. I want to meet them. And when I do meet them, they're a cool person. Then everything else is a cherry on top. But just because they got money in their bank account, followers, a cool house, they know a famous person. Oh, that's another one. Just because they know a famous person, they're cool. Oh, that's not something either. Like they're clout riding off knowing someone else, and they're a dick. Like, if you know someone else, that's cool. That's really cool. Good for you. Happy for you. But I'm not going to judge your character off that. If you're a cool person, I'm going to judge it off that, man. That's my rant, dude. I don't know how people think about that. And maybe everyone's like, oh, yeah, we all think like that. And you just said it out loud. Another reason why we shouldn't have all these podcasts. That's a lot of big thing I hear. But I guess that's living in my head. Let's remove that from the head, and let's remove all the other negative stuff that's been going on, because there's a lot of negative in the world, and I've been trying to look optimistically, but not grossly. Just know your role. Know your role, man. That's something. I'm looking at this poster I have in here. It's Jordan Babineau. He's a Seahawks player. I got a signed autograph picture from him, and he has a nonprofit. It's called Know Your Role, and I always look at that. It makes sense when I'm doing the pod. I always hear that in sports. Know your role. Do your thing. And he actually made a game-saving tackle against the Dallas Cowboys when Tony Romo muffed the field goal, and they tried to go up and run it in, and it didn't end up working out. He made the game-saving tackle, and that was a huge play for Seattle Seahawks fans. So that's a little Seahawks insider news for you. But I've been leaning towards liking Seattle Seahawks a little more, man. I don't know. Kind of getting on the bandwagon a little bit. I like Baltimore Ravens, and they'll always have a place in my heart. But when I go somewhere, like when I go to California and I go, oh, they're like, oh, where are you from? And they're like, oh, you're from Seattle. You're a Seahawks fan. Like, hell yeah. Like, I give them like, oh, yeah, I like the Baltimore Ravens, though. But it's like, hell yeah, I'm a Seattle fan. It's dope, even if we're bad. Oh, yeah. And I do that with the Mariners, too. Hardcore. Anybody even mentions baseball, I'm like, oh, yeah, Mariners, dude. I'll even sometimes say Aqua Sox if I'm feeling good. I'll be like, yeah, Aqua Sox, man. The Rainiers, Mariners, man, we're dope. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I definitely support. And I think that's the big thing, man. I'm always admiring people who support anybody, and especially the people who support the pod. And if you guys are listening all the way to the 27th minute, I just want to say thank you. We made it here today, and there's a lot of good stuff. So, be thankful today. If I could leave you guys off with anything, that's all I got for you guys. I'll be back next week. Busy here. Graduation's upon us. So, yeah, just want to say thanks for coming here and hanging out with me. Until then, we'll talk next week. Hoyt.